What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wonbyone Podcast. I'm your host, Obi Emegano, 9-year professional basketball player, 2020 Tokyo Olympian, and your host of this podcast, all right? During this podcast, guys, we'll be talking about the mindset, the habits, the strategies that fuel success, both internally and externally. So we're talking mentally and physically, all right? We're joined today with an overseas vet, a guy that I just met. I'm getting to know a little bit more, man. Jazz, what's going on?
What's up, man?
How
Thanks
you
for having
doing?
me on. I'm great, man. Grinding.
Yeah.
I'm in that part of the season where it's really you getting ready to go home or you in that playoff push.
Yeah. Man, tell the people, man. Tell them who you are, what do you do, where are you from? Just give us a little background on you.
Yeah, man. I'm Jazz Ferguson. I am a 15-year vet. Playing professionally.
Big
I've
dog.
been, yeah, man. It's been a beautiful journey. I started my career 2 years in Australia and quickly transitioned to Italy where I played 9 seasons. And I had a half season in Greece, and I've been the last 3 years in France playing professionally. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Um, yeah, man. So it's been quite the journey.
Hey, man, for y'all, this is my, I say first time, pretty much first time meeting Jazz, man. The overseas world is a small world as far as how many people, how we know each other. So got connected with Jazz, man. Wanted to tap in with him. I see a lot of the stuff that he's doing as far as mental health, as far as the mental side of sports, and so I wanted to tap in, man, and just talk to you and get to meet you and draw interest, man. But I appreciate you for coming on here. I know it's been hard. We've been trying to get you on here. I know you're a busy guy. We can't, we had some unfortunate stuff going on a little bit, but I'm glad to have you back on here, man, for the second
Man,
time.
I feel it's cool that we could connect in this way, man. As you said, the overseas world, especially, is a small circle. Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody, and a lot of us originate from the same places. So, I appreciate you having me on. I love what you're doing with the podcast as well. So, it's gonna be cool to connect and just get a deep dive.
Yeah, man. So just take us back a little bit. So we'll get into the 15 years. We got to get into that. Take us back a little bit before that, man. What was that like? You said grew up in Louisville.
In Louisville, yeah.
What
Well,
what was
for
that
people
like? What
from
what was
Louisville,
college like,
we
man?
call it Louisville. Yeah, so
Louisville,
so
Louisville,
yeah,
Louisville,
Louisville. Yeah, like I yeah, if you local, man, but that's
Louisville.
how
My
you
fault.
know.
Yeah, that's how they know I'm not from here. My fault. I got to get
Uh,
my lingo right.
it's all good, man. But yeah, I got a unique story, man. Growing up, all of my friends were really good basketball players. I was in love with the game more than how good I was, and I think that's where my mindset kind of developed. My my target was always to just progress to become as good as my friends were when I was in like middle school, early stages of high school, and I went to Moore High School. I played for a legendary high school coach named Larry Miller. He's well known for conducting a lot of high school students into the college ranks, whether that's junior college, NAIA, Division One, Division Two, and everywhere in America. So I played for him all through high school, and then I actually didn't play Division One. Man, I played NAIA Division Two
Oh wow.
at Indiana University Southeast. I
Okay.
played for another legendary coach who, at the time when he took the job, I was a freshman. I was an incoming freshman, and he was an incoming coach. And his name is Wiley Brown. He was coming from Rick Pitino's staff. He won a national championship at Louisville in the '80s. And man, I played 4 years there. I was a late bloomer coming out of high school. I wasn't quite ready to play Division I, Division II basketball. That time I still looked like a little kid. So
Wow.
it took me a couple years physically to kind of adjust to what would be a higher level of college basketball. But by the time I was a sophomore in college, my coach was already telling me that he thought I was a pro. So that gave me a big advantage playing at the NAIA level. I had a
This is
couple,
at NAIA.
yeah, this is at the
Wow.
NAIA level. But man, the unique part about where I went to school was it was a 25-minute drive from the University of Louisville's campus, and it was an hour drive from the University of Kentucky's campus. So we had a connection with the high level basketball players. A lot of the guys that played at the University of Louisville at that time are some of my good friends that we always stay connected as we, transition to at the pro level. Jerry Smith, Edgar Sosa, Russ Smith, Peyton Siva.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Goats.
those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, but those guys during the summertime, we got it in together. We
For
would
sure.
organize the runs where we IUS, my school was famous for the summer runs. So we would have our runs Monday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday, Thursday we go play at the Yum Center at the University of Louisville, and that's where a lot of my development, as far as knowing where I stood, in the college ranks, playing against some of the best players at our level at the time, well, at the college level. So when I played against guys at my level, it was easy.
Yeah.
I ended up leaving IUS as the all-time leading scorer. I'm still currently the all-time leading scorer. I
Congrats,
scored
bro. Congrats.
2,042 points. And second in assists. I had, I believe, 580 assists. We can fact check that. But
I believe you.
yeah, so, and I was a first team All American. So my senior year, I averaged 25, 5, and 5. And, I was on some of the radars, but with my size and the style of play that I played, I had a couple workouts, but, I knew it was going to be a long shot for me to get a shot at the league. But inevitably, I, created opportunity for myself to have a long playing career.
Man, that's inspiring, bro. Because so for instance, man, I'm in Oklahoma, right? We got good basketball here, but
Yeah,
we also, I mean, just like anywhere else, there's a lot of guys who want to play but think, oh, I'm either too small or it's too late or you know what I mean? So
yeah.
for one, how tall are you?
Man, I'm
Don't give me
six
don't
one.
give me the
I'm
basketball.
six.
Give me the real.
Nah, I'm 6'1" on my best day, but I'm about 5'11" and a half,
Yeah,
man.
straight up.
I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, but
Yeah. When we was
you wear
younger, we
that with
used to
a,
try to get more, we used to I'm sick, but now
yeah,
it's like, nah, bro, I'm
yeah.
shrinking.
So we call it 6 foot. We call it
Yeah.
6 foot just to,
Yeah. Now
but
it means a lot to me though, man, because like what are you saying? What would you say to the young cats who are, oh, I'm too small, or hearing he's too small, he's not good, he's got to go D2, he's got to go he's got to. I was just talking to one of my guys, Rob, and I told him, man, it don't matter where you play at. Who cares?
mm-mm.
Who cares where you play? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing?
So I always tell people when I talk about my story, I always shout one of my homies out, one of my big homies out, Haji Muhammad. He played at Louisville as well, but he's a couple years older than me. And when he used to come over and play in the runs, I was always intrigued by him because at the time he was playing overseas. He was playing in France, Middle East, all over the world. And he understood how good I was at the level that I was. And I just used to ask him questions about playing overseas. And he would be like, man, listen, if you want to make it, you're going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you got the drive and you got to have the talent, obviously, but you put the work in, you have the drive and the mentality that nobody's gonna stop you from getting where you want to go. You're gonna get there, and he never allowed me to kind of doubt myself because he saw what I was capable of doing, and along with the numbers that I was putting up during the season, he's like, I'll be playing against you over here one day."
Hey, I'm listening to your story, bro, and I'm like, 15 years this man's been overseas.
Yeah,
Coming from there, like where you know what I'm saying? And that's just a testament, bro. Obviously, I've seen it, but you don't hear those stories a lot. And this to me, man, it's gonna be a powerful story for a lot of the athletes that I work with. Because a lot of them are told they're too small. A lot of them are told it's too late. A lot of them, and not that they're told that they believe that themselves. And I think that's the
yeah,
worst part.
yeah. So I think, man, when you a late bloomer, you gotta have something that stands out more than other people. And I think obviously physically that wasn't my elite skill. My biggest skill, I had a coach in Italy tell me that he loved me as a player. He loved my game. At the time I was leading Italy in scoring. But he told me my greatest skill was my mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I'll always carry as a badge of honor because I live by that. My mindset and my mentality has carried me from the slums, from the projects to being able to see places all over the world that I never could have imagined. So um, just having a discipline and a drive and a will to kind of do the things behind the scenes when nobody else is willing to do it, man. So my mindset on being in love with the game, following my passion, believing in myself, has been what has allowed me to have a amazing career, and God willing, continue to play for as long as I see fit.
You know, I I think about this a lot coming from where when I was younger, because I was a gym rat. I was in the gym a lot. And looking back, I'm like, how much was I in the gym for real, for real? I asked my coach the other day, I think like 2 days ago, like, because he was the guy I was with all the time. He was my personal trainer. He was a father figure to me. I said, man, how often were we actually in the gym? Like, because I look at kids now and I'm trying to figure out what do they need to be doing? How much do they need to be doing? Right. So obviously you came from where you came from. What was your schedule? What did it look like? What type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm talking to an athlete, I want to know what to tell them as far as, all right, you need to be making 250, you need to be making 500, you need to be shooting 500, you need to be 5 days a week, you need whatever, you know what I'm saying? What did that look like for you?
I'm glad you asked that question because nothing about my story is normal. So it can be more relatable to the kids that see themselves as normal. Almost when people talk about underdogs, you talk about guys that probably didn't even play Division One. When I'll just go right to the end of my college playing career. Me and my best friend, one of my two best friends, Rick Bodiford, we played together for 3 years at Indiana Southeast. He was a 9-year pro as well. I had at the end of my senior year, I had $300 in my checking account for an entire summer. I had only gas, that was my gas money to get to the gym and back. I worked at a job at LA Fitness just so I could just pay my little bills that I had. But I had $300 to spend the whole summer. We worked out every single day for 3.5 months.
I love it.
Every single day for 3.5 months. We would go in before work and lift. Then when we got off, when we finished work, if the gym was free that we worked at in LA Fitness, we would play ones for an hour. Me, him, and another guy. Every day. When work was finished, we would go to my university and work out with our college coach. Then the guys would come in for open gym and we play open gym 3 times a week.
He was
That
getting
was
to it.
we was getting to it. That I was in the best shape of my life. I felt like I could make the league.
How old were you at this
Honestly,
point?
I was 22.
Okay. This is college. This post college, you saying?
Yeah, this is the end of my senior year in
Okay.
college.
Okay. Okay.
But even let's talk before that. So when I was in high school, I was so obsessed with getting better. I went back to my high school a year ago, last summer, and I saw one of the school counselors who's still working there. We shook up. He was telling me how proud of me he was, and he was like, "Man, nobody thought that you was gonna be where you are right now, but nobody is surprised." He said, "I remember when you had lunch as a junior in high school, you would skip lunch and roll out the gun during your 45 minutes of
Yes,
lunch,
bro.
and I'd
Yes.
be on the gun getting shots up the whole 45 minutes
Hey, bro.
until until the class was coming in." And these are things that I didn't remember because I've had so many memories of grinding every summer to continue to prove myself that sometimes you forget the little details that other people remind you of.
Yeah.
And I sit back and I think and I'm like, damn, that is definitely something that's me that I would absolutely do.
And I mean, you look back now and you're like, yeah, yeah, that's what I did. And that's why I'm here where and sometimes I ask myself, man, am I too hard on these athletes? I ask myself that. And that's the thing is like, and I want to say, man, I don't, but I don't want to be that old head. And I feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I'm about to get
absolutely.
nerdy, but at the same time, man, there's merit to that. I do think there's merit to
Absolutely.
that because I remember at lunch shooting with my guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember all the work that we would put in. And so now athletes, I think they expect it to be easier.
No,
You know what I mean? They
no.
expect it to be easier and they want to have fun and they wanted and I'm like, you gotta pick one.
Yeah.
Priority
I think
means prior. Only one thing comes prior. What is it? It could either be friends, it
absolutely.
could be hoop, it could be, but what is it? You gotta decide. And I'm not gonna tell you what's right or wrong, but don't
Yeah,
tell me that you want this, but then it's not a priority.
absolutely. And
You
I,
know?
I I think I think that sense of entitlement maybe come from social media because our era is very like the last era before social media started. Like Facebook was started when I was a junior in high school. So I remember my school gave us laptops. They gave every student in the school laptops, and we was the first school in the city of in the whole state of Kentucky where students had Facebook pages.
Wow.
So I say that to say before that you had to use your imagination on what everybody else was doing, how you was getting better. So
Yeah.
I always imagined me playing in the game against my friends at other schools, and I'm like, yo, I gotta beat them. I gotta be the best player on the floor. And I didn't know how they was working. They didn't know how I was working.
You
And
versus
the
you.
it's me versus me. And my teammates first started to see that separation because it was an obsession for me. There was nothing more important. I was a good student because I wanted to be a good basketball player.
Yeah.
When coaches used to talk about you got to qualify to be able to play, my only motivation, I'm an intellectual person, but my only motivation to be a good student when I was younger was because I wanted to be eligible to play basketball.
Hmm.
And that level of obsession, I didn't know it was going to get me out of the hood. I didn't know it was going to take me to these places, but I wanted to play college basketball. And once you get a taste of that, then you get a sense of, okay, what does the rest of the world look like?
Hmm. What was that big change for you moving from college, let's say college, because smaller college to the pro
Yeah.
level? What was that big change for you like moving to the pro level?
So the first thing,
And when did
um,
you and when did you feel like you belonged? When did you realize, man, I belong here?
yeah, so it's a blessing that my career started in Australia. So first of all, I got to shout out the Canadian League, because I played in the inaugural games of the Canadian League, the
Mm.
NBL Canada, but I was only there for a month and a half,
It's
so
decent up there too, by the way. Side note, sorry.
it's decent. And it was dog eat dog.
Yeah,
It was
it's
it was
decent
just
up
like
there.
it was just like the G League, but
Yeah.
I got the offer to go play in Australia right as the season was starting, so I chose to leave and go play in Australia. Best thing that could have happened to me was to play in Australia before I got to Europe, because I was still in the mindset of dribble drive college offense. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta go get it every time.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go get it to win.
Yeah.
So, and I was used to winning. I won 4 conference championships, went to the Final Four. But going to Australia, I had a coach who was willing to invest time in me and allow me to grow at the same time. I remember I was very aggressive offensively. I remember the first game of the season. We won. We beat a team that had beat them by 50 the year before. We come back the next year and beat them for the first game of the season. And he pulled me in the office. We're watching film. He's like, "Look, you had 28 points, 9 assists, but you shot the ball 26 times." Like, and for me at that time is I'm not conscious of that, because it's like we got the win. They brought me in to be the guy, so it is what it is. He's telling me, he the first thing he asked me was, what is your goal? I'm like, I want to get to Europe. All of the people I knew played in Europe. So he told me, listen, we're gonna still need you to get this 28, but in an efficient way. There was 7 shots that you took that you could have been more patient. You could have swung the ball one more. So he really allowed me to learn and grow, and we broke down film together. We ended up winning a championship that year, and that was when that was the learning curve for me. The transition was playing for him. His name was Brad Chalmers, man. Shout out to Ice, man. He really took time and allowed me to learn from him of how he wanted me to play and what he thought would help me be successful playing at a higher level. So once that happened, we won a championship. I signed with a team the next year in Australia that was like double the money, higher budget, higher, like even higher expectations to win the championship. And that team had ties to Europe. They told me, you come here, this is the funnel from you playing here. You'll have an opportunity to play in Europe. I play there. We get to the finals, and game one of the finals, I had a contract to fly to Italy and play as soon as we finished in Australia. So
Nice.
that was the learning curve my first year, and then when I feel like had arrived, I had made it. Honestly, it was a game in Italy where I played against one of my friends. The first game I played against one of my close friends that's still my dog to this day, Jerry Smith, that played at Louisville. When I signed my contract to play in Forlì in Italy. He was playing in Verona, and they were the big team in the league at that time. I got to play against him like it was a matchup. We was guarding each other. It was one of the coolest things I had
Yeah.
experienced in my life to that point, man. And
Mm-hmm.
we got to link up and just go out and have dinner and just really kick it. It made me feel like
That's
I had
beautiful,
arrived to
man.
like that pro level.
That's
Yeah, man.
beautiful,
So
man.
yeah,
There's nothing
yeah,
like
man.
that, bro. There's nothing like that.
Nothing like it. Nothing
Do
like
you?
it, man.
Side note, you love being overseas right now?
I love it, man.
Love it.
I got married here. My son was born here. Like it feels more like home to me than living in the States.
That's
You know,
crazy,
I
man. I
yeah,
tell people that all
yeah,
the time, and I'm not 15 years in. You know what I'm saying? Even at 6 years in, I was like, you drop me anywhere in Spain, I'm
fully,
functioning fully. You know what I'm
fully.
saying? And then I come
Yeah,
back home to the States and I'm like, where am I?
got
You
to
know what I'm
get caught
saying?
up to speed. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
15 years, bro. 15 years you've been there. obviously I know it, you know it. Longevity is key. The best ability is
It's
availability.
availability.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So you've been able to do this for 15 years. How? Why? What has played the biggest role in your longevity?
I think number one thing is that passion, man. That fire still burning in my stomach
Mm,
for the competition. For having a mindset of don't matter what I did last season, I feel like I need to prove myself again. And when you had a mentality of having to prove yourself, you understand that, bro, there is no margin for error.
hmm
There is somebody that will come and take your job for half the money, gladly, a
God,
third of the money. And and
quickly.
with that mindset, it's kind of carried me to, first of all, man, um, being over here, you got to be adaptable. You got to be able to adapt to any environment. Um, I would advise anybody that has ambition to come play in a city like Spain, I mean, a country like Spain, Italy, France, ingratiate yourself in the culture.
hmm
Try the food, speak the language, visit the cities, learn some history. That's the first thing I did when I got to Europe. In Italy, I speak Italian now.
Mm.
And people always ask me, how the hell do you speak Italian? I'm like, man, I woke up one day thinking in Italian
Yeah.
because this is a true story, bro. This is a true story. I was on a team with four other Americans, and every time we went out to a restaurant or anywhere, they start speaking Italian, and all four of them would look at me. I'm like, bro, I only been here for 1 year, like, so it
Yeah.
forced me to really learn the language and just ingratiate myself into the culture. And then, man, the discipline aspect of taking care of your body. You know, I'm a very open-minded person, so I've done things like change my diet at the end of the year. I'll do pescatarian, I'll do vegan, I'll do um, vegetarian. Just anything that kind of toy with my body makes me feel good. And throughout the years, I've always been very, very big on weightlifting. My college coach once told me, he's like, man, lifting weights gives you confidence. And I always thought of that at least one time every time I was in the weight room. I was already small of stature, so building muscle and being able to take the bumps and bruises. You know how physical it is over here, man. Like to
Hey.
be able to 10 months at a time, and you got 6'5", 6'6" guys bumping you when you come through the lane and hard fight. Yeah, so just the aspect of taking care of my body, and then as I've gotten older, that aspect has been even more important to me. I went
hmm
from lifting 3 times a week to I lift 5 times a week now.
hmm
I lift on game day.
hmm
I stretch religiously.
hmm
And those are the boring things that people don't really want to do. But I tell my young teammates all the time, I'm like, bro, y'all boys better start stretching. Guys, man, we used to walk in the gym, no stretch, play 2 hours open gym, leave, no stretch. And I tell guys all the time, I'm like, y'all boys better start stretching. Young athletes become old athletes real quick. And it's laughable when the OG is telling you that, but
Laughable.
but then the OG is the one that played every game this season. Played out every game. I'm gonna knock on wood, man, but I probably missed in 15 years. I probably missed 10 games.
God is good.
God is good, man. In my
Man,
entire career,
I was 6 a.m. this morning. We finished up the workout. I'm with a bunch of my high school cats. And they like, Obi, why'd you go vegan? I'm like, cause I have four surgeries and I need to take care of my body. And they laugh and I'm like, all right. And one of them got an ankle brace on. I'm like, better take care of that ankle. Cause give it 3 more years. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we know how that
Wear and
goes.
tear.
My
Yeah,
ankle right now is fried turkey from my freshman season. I mean, all the ligaments is just gone. And
yeah,
I remember specifically the day I rolled this ankle, bro, and how I just played on it for the rest of the time. And how
yeah.
now I can't, it's hard to, you know what I'm saying? And you're playing catch up. So I spent the last 10 years playing catch up, trying to catch my body up from all the stuff that I didn't do way back when. So, young athletes, I'm just telling y'all, man, this is y'all have to take care of your bodies, man. I mean, I'll be 32 this month. You've been 15 years in. Like, you want to
I
continue to
just turned
play?
36. Yeah,
Golly, bro. And
yeah.
I mean, you
I
look
just turned
good. 30,
36.
you look good. You know what I'm saying? Playing, and that's the way to go, man. And over your over your over your duration, the 15 years, man, how has your role changed? I know you're the big homie now. How has your role changed?
I'm glad you asked that, man,
Unc?
because I hear it all,
What
man.
up,
And
Unc?
yeah. But for real, I take that with pride now.
For
I take that
sure.
with pride for real, man, because I see that I'm way more durable than the young cats.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as my role, so obviously coming from a small school, I was always the star,
Mm-hmm.
the guy. I'm the go-to guy. So, the beginning of my career playing in Australia, I was that guy. When I got to Italy, my second year, so my first year I played in the A2 league
Mm-hmm.
in Italy, which it's the highest level of
It's my first
it
year
could
too.
it could be a first division for sure because of the money, because of the names of the guys that go play there after they played Euro League and Euro Cup and Champions League. That's a league where you still make good money and it's very, very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my year there. I was the guy on that team. Then I went and played in the first division, and my role changed because I was backing up the the point guard for the national team, the Italian national team.
Mm-hmm.
So I went. I didn't love that role. I excelled in that role, but I didn't like it because I was used to being the guy. So, that was another learning curve for me that I wasn't really willing to accept at that time because I was still 24. I'm still wanting to play 30 something minutes a game and
Yeah.
want to be the guy to go show what I can do.
Yeah.
So my role was that. And, if you embrace that role, you can carve out that becomes what you are when you play in the top leagues. But I ended up turning down their offer to re-sign me because I had an offer for way more money in the second division, and I knew I was going to go back and be the guy. So after I um, I left the first division, that was my third year as a pro. My fourth year as a pro. I actually was the first year that I made significant money,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the guy, and I ended up signing a deal with Adidas. So
Okay.
I ended up really, really kind of becoming one of like the marquee guys.
Yeah.
But I've played on several different teams. I've had another coach that tried me to experiment with me coming off the bench. I was the probably the best player in the league, so there was a lot of questions of why I was coming off the bench. But that coach in particular had a formula that actually worked. He would just let me,
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, just finish that sentence. I got a question for you.
yeah, I didn't love it again, but I was making so much money that I was cool with accepting the role and still showing who I was. But looking back on that experience, it taught me so much about, first of all, about coaches that are really organized and know what they're doing. And second, just like humility, bruh. Like everybody don't see you how you see yourself, and even though I was the guy, I remember the first day in training camp, he says, we don't have a star. The system is the star. And he looked directly at me in my eyes. And I'm like, understood.
And that, we hear stories like that, man. And I go tell a kid that story, and they're like, and I look at him, and I can't help but to say, man, this guy's a 15-year vet, highest paid player, best player in the league, coming off the bench. I don't want to hear nothing about you thinking that you're a starter at your high school little league
Nah,
team. And stop, stop,
nah, nah.
stop.
Because at the end of the day, you gotta figure it out. You're a pro, you getting paid to do your job. And if you don't do your job, you better believe they're gonna find somebody else that will.
Tomorrow, what are you talking about?
Tomorrow.
Your replacement will
And
be
and,
here in practice.
and just to tap back into the longevity, right now I'm 36 and I'm leading the league in scoring in
Are
frames
you
right now.
really?
Yeah, yeah. For the second year in a row.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
just a testament to the work, man. I'm still the first guy to the gym every single day. I'm still the last guy to leave every single day. You can call and ask any of my teammates. They
Yeah.
know.
There's
I'm.
a there's a method behind it. It's not a secret.
It's definitely not a secret.
and
It's
and
definitely not a
and that's
secret.
the thing. And and the guys who know there's a method behind it. There are things that if you can check these boxes, you significantly increase the likeliness of you achieving your goals. And that's the thing, is there's a
Absolutely.
checklist. Just check the boxes. Show up on time, eat the right foods, get your stretching in, get your weight room in, get your shots up, like follow the system. The system is the star. It works. It works if you follow it. A lot of people don't
Absolutely.
want to follow it though.
It's because it sounds simple, but discipline is hard, man. You get 2, 3 paychecks, you feel good. You get
Kick
out
my
on the
feet
party
up.
scene. Yeah, you get out on the party scene,
You
meet
go
you a little
outside,
something.
people are like, Jazz,
Yeah,
Jazz, let me get an autograph. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That's how it goes.
It's love because when you doing your thing, you for sure getting a lot of love. But I'm the first to tell guys, bro. I used to party in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
Italy's the
had a
place to. It's the
good
place for it too.
time. Yes, bro. We had a good time. Never once in my whole career did it get in the way of the main thing. The main thing was always the main thing, and you know that you're expected to have a life outside of basketball, but you are absolutely expected to put your job first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing where I've seen guys get too caught up in the life, get too caught up in I just made
Yeah.
15,000 last month. I'm good. Like
Yeah.
that shit can go away just as fast as it came if you're not locked in on the main thing, man. Just read. There's plenty of stories out here about guys that have had an upside of playing in the league and they couldn't get it done in the third division
Hey,
overseas.
bro, you see that monthly, frequently. Frequently,
Absolutely.
you see that, and people don't understand what the they don't understand the competition that goes on over there, bro. It is competitive. And competitive not just on the court, the fans, the front office, the
Everybody.
media, everybody. It's competitive. And if you're not
Yeah.
doing your job, you think they not finna just no, bro. See ya. Goodbye.
Get him up out of here. Yeah.
Get him out of here. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, it's the same thing with injuries. If you're a guy that's underperforming and you get injured, team ain't waiting. We we'll make sure you're insured. We'll make sure you're taken care of. But we got to get somebody in here to do this job.
Happened to me. That was my last job. My literal last job. Got injured. See ya next time. And mind you, they was trying to re-sign me before that.
Mm-hmm.
I went and did all the
I've
media.
seen it.
I went and did all the media stuff. You know, they take one player to go do all the media stuff with the league. I went and did all that. Got injured.
Gone.
Nice knowing you.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that, man. So,
It's
man, look,
definitely a cutthroat business.
yeah, man. So, look, man, 15 years in, I know you got a lot of life left, man, but for sure, wifey, the kids, they think, I know how that goes, man. What's your thought? What are you thinking? What does it look like? What does the next couple years look like? You want to squeeze out a couple more years? You're going to play until you feel like you can't no more? You want to live in Italy for the rest of the time? What is it looking like?
Man, I'm glad you said that, man, because, you know, at 32, 33, you have to start thinking about life outside of basketball, man.
Mm-hmm.
And, it took me a while to really brainstorm and it took me a while for it to really click. But once I found it, I've been all in on it, man. So um I'm basically right now I'm looking like I want to put my life into like 2 year intervals
Okay.
because I'm 36. I just turned 36 right now, and everybody that I associate with talking about basketball, they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna play for the next 4 or 5 years, man. Like it's easy."
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, Father Time catches up with every athlete. So
Mm-hmm.
I would be stupid to think I'm just gonna play for 4 or 5 more years and not have, my transition phase ready. So man, I'm on the verge of graduating from a certification school to get my life coaching certification.
Okay.
My niche will be in confidence building, mental strengthening, and ambitious outreach. Helping people
Welcome.
discover their goals, reach their goals. Yeah, man. So
Welcome.
I know you've been
Welcome.
connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I think guys like us can have a real impact in that space because our journeys are first of all relatable and unique at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be graduating next month to get my certification, and I'm gonna start my practice while I'm still playing.
Tap in.
So yeah, absolutely,
Tap in.
absolutely. I think we for sure gonna be able to
Tap in.
connect and bounce ideas off of each other, man.
Yeah.
So I just recently started my Motivation Monday
I
series
see it.
just to kind of soft roll out my image as a
Yeah.
person that wants to inspire. Um,
Yes.
and I got some other things that I aspire to do. I started writing a book about a year ago, and I'm gonna finish that soon. So I'll be a first time author, and I want to do some public speaking, man. I just had my first paid speaking engagement in
Okay.
France. Yeah, I got to
Ooh.
go. Yeah, I went to go speak at a private school in Vienne, France. Man,
Okay.
it was such a cool experience to be able to do that in an international setting. So just that's a couple things that I'm gonna be for sure tapped into while I'm still playing. So when it's time to transition, I have something that I first of all have a passion for, and second of all, like to be able to get that same burning feeling that I get from basketball in my stomach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
I love
know,
that.
yeah.
I love that, man. Oh man, that's beautiful, bro. We're gonna tap in for sure. I've been seeing what you're doing. I've been wanting to reach out. So this is the first introduction. I love it. We're gonna stay in touch, man. Before we get out of here, real quickly, man. If you could go back, one question. If you could go back to your 18-year old Jazz, what would
Mm.
you tell him, man? What would you tell him?
Don't change nothing in your process because what you're going to see in the next 18 years of your life is going to be inspirational to people that come from where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
I think my approach was very unique for the circumstances that I come from. A lot of people ask me where I get my mentality from, and I'm like, it's something I was born with
Mm-hmm.
because everybody around me got caught up in the mix. It's so easy to. And
Yeah.
me and two of my friends were the ones that kind of made it out, so to speak, or didn't get caught up in the drugs and violence and, things that can be addictive. And I think, the only thing I would tell myself is, man, take your first year of college serious academically. I just did enough to
I
get
like
by.
that. I like
I
that.
just did enough to get by because if I did, then I wouldn't have had 6 hours to graduate. And then I had to make a decision on, am I about to pursue this career now or I'm going to do another semester
Mm-hmm.
and basically push my career to the side. So I think that would be it. Take that first semester seriously and get the degree in 4 years instead of having to wait. But other than that, man, the journey has been beautiful. Um, there's decisions. The other thing I want to say to young athletes, man, is when you get an
This was my last.
opportunity.
Wait, wait. This. Hey, this
Okay,
was my
go
last
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
So, if you could leave any words with any of these young athletes, man, what would it be?
When you make a decision, you got to live with it. So when you come to a point where it's time to make a really big decision, take your time to make the decision. Don't act off impulses. Don't act off what somebody else might think. Really sit down and assess the pros and cons of each situation. If you got two options, thoroughly do your research on both options before, because the one that might sound the prettiest might not be the best situation for you. And
Often.
I've had some huge decisions that I've had to make in my career in terms of money or opportunity. And sometimes opportunity don't outweigh what you're projected to make in your career. So you really have to assess those situations. And once you make that decision, live with it. Give it everything
Mm.
you got because sometimes you only get one time to make that decision. So you might as well live with it and give everything you got to it. But just do your research, man, and man, have an open mind.
Man, you heard it here first, man. Jazz, I appreciate you for coming on here, man. It's been a minute. I'm really glad we got to tap in, bro. I've been wanting to tap in with you. I'm glad I shot you that. We just shot you a message on Instagram. You responded with a lot of love, man. So I really appreciate you for coming on here, sharing these gems, even with me. You know what I'm saying? I've been overseas for a lot of years, but to have you know, big homies around. I really value those guys. I value guys like yourself who was just trying to help other people, whether that's the youth, whether it's somebody like myself who's up and coming or whatever the case may be, man. So I really appreciate you. Where can the people find you?
On my Instagram, my main Instagram is jazz_Ferguson. My life coaching page is Reps with Jazz, and I'm also just Jazz Ferguson on LinkedIn and Facebook, man. So
Yes,
tap
sir.
in with
Yes,
me,
sir.
man. Follow the journey.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you for coming on here, sharing these notes and sharing this love with us, man. It's been a blessing. Good luck for the rest of the season. I know it's this. I know the weather's getting good out there, so you know the season's coming
Yeah,
to an end. I know how that
playoff
goes,
push.
man. So
Yeah,
it's the playoff
man. I
push, man.
appreciate.
Good
I,
luck.
I appreciate you, Obi, man. This was cool, man. It's the first podcast episode I've done, but this is really dope, man. I love what you're doing.
That's
We
love.
definitely gonna tap in. We locked in now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. Have a good night. I know it's late over there, man. Say hello to the wife and kids for me.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate it. Later.
All right, love.